What financial mistake can you still afford to make after 50? 1, 2, maybe none. Because after 50, every financial decision carries more weight. A mistake that seems small at 30 can become very expensive at 60. Because after 50, you have less time to recover. And that's exactly why this conversation matters. In this video, I'm going to show you the 5 money mistakes that quietly damage retirement plans, destroy financial confidence, and leave many people wishing they had acted sooner. And pay special attention to mistake number 4, because it's quietly costing millions of people money every single day, and many don't even realize it is happening. The good news is that none of these mistakes require you to be wealthy to avoid. None require a financial degree, and none require you to start over from scratch. Let's begin. Most people don't wake up one morning and suddenly have financial problems. Problems usually develop slowly. Small decisions, small mistakes, small habits repeated over many years. And after 50, the consequences become harder to ignore. Let's start with mistake number 1, living without a financial plan. Now, let me ask you a simple question. If I asked you today how much money you spend every month, could you answer immediately? What if I asked you how much money you will need to maintain your lifestyle in retirement? Would you know? Many people don't. And that is not because they are irresponsible. It's because they have spent most of their lives focusing on earning money rather than planning for the future. Imagine getting into your car and deciding to drive from Lagos to Abuja without knowing the route, the example I used before. No map, no directions, no destination. Most of us would never do that anyway. Yet many people approach their finances in exactly the same way. They work hard, they earn money, they pay bills, but they never stop to create a financial plan. And when you don't have a plan, small financial mistakes become much more expensive. You may not have a financial plan if you don't track your spending, if you don't know your net worth, if you don't have a retirement target, if you don't have an emergency fund, or if you don't know where your money goes each month. Now, and here's the danger. When you don't control your money controls you. The good news is that you don't need complicated spreadsheets. Start simple. Write down your income. Write down your expenses. Write down your debts. Write down your savings. Write down your goals. Because every successful financial journey begins with clarity. And clarity begins with knowing your numbers. Remember this. Hope is not a financial plan. The future belongs to people who plan for it. Now let's talk about mistake number 2, depending on one source of income. Let me ask you another question. Where does most of your money come from? For many people, the answer is simple. A salary, a business, a pension, or perhaps a single rental property. And there's nothing wrong with having one primary source of income anyway. The problem begins when that source becomes your only source of income. Because life has a way of surprising us. Definitely. Companies downsize. Businesses slow down. Customers disappear, economic conditions change, like in Nigeria as it is right now, health problems appear unexpectedly. And when all your financial security depends on one source, a single disruption can create enormous stress. Imagine two people, both earn exactly the same amount of money every month. Let's call them David and James. David depends entirely on his salary. If his job disappears tomorrow, his income disappears tomorrow also. James also has a job, but he has built a few additional income streams. Perhaps a small investment portfolio, perhaps a rental property, perhaps consulting work, perhaps dividend income. If James loses his job, life becomes difficult, but not devastating, because money is still coming from another place. The difference isn't income. The difference is resilience. Think about it this way. Imagine sitting on a chair with only one leg. How stable could that chair be? Not very stable. But a chair with 4 strong legs can handle pressure. The same principle applies to your finances. The more legitimate sources of income you have, the more stable your future becomes. Now let me be clear. I'm not saying everyone needs 10 businesses. I am not saying you need to become a millionaire entrepreneur. The goal is diversification. The goal is reducing risk. The goal is making sure your entire future doesn't depend on one paycheck. For someone over 50, additional income might come from consulting, teaching, coaching, rental income, investments, creating online content, or sharing knowledge gained from decades of experience. One thing I have learned is that financial security isn't just about how much you earn. It's about how vulnerable you are if one source disappears. Remember this. One source of income may create comfort. Yeah, sure. Multiple sources of income create resilience. Now let's move to mistake number 3. Waiting too long to invest. This mistake is incredibly common because many people believe it's already too late. I've heard people say, if only I had started at 25. If only I had started at age 30. If only I had started 20 years ago. And you know what? That's right. Starting earlier would have been better. But here's the problem. Many people became so focused on the time they have lost that they fail to use the time they still have. And that's a mistake. Because while you can't change the past, you can still influence your future. Imagine 2 people. One starts investing today. The other waits 5 more years before they are certain. Both eventually invest. But one gave their money 5 additional years to grow. 5 additional years of opportunity. 5 additional years of compounding. And over time, small decisions often create big outcomes. Now, when many people hear the word investing, they immediately think of risk. Stock markets, charts, complex financial terms. But investing is simply putting your money to work instead of leaving it idle. It's about building assets that may grow over time. And it's about giving your future self more options. It's not gambling. It's not chasing quick riches. And it's certainly not putting all your money into something you don't understand. One of the biggest mistakes people make is assuming that saving money and investing money are the same thing. They are not. Saving protects money. Investing grows money. But both are important. You need savings for emergencies. You need investments for long-term growth. Sometimes the real issue isn't age, it's fear. Fear of losing money, fear of making mistakes, fear of not understanding how things work. And those fears are understandable. But doing nothing also carries risk. Inflation doesn't stop because we're afraid. The cost of living doesn't stop rising because we are uncertain. The goal isn't to become an expert overnight. The goal is to begin learning. Start where you are. Start with what you understand. Start with what you can afford. Because consistency matters more than perfection. Remember this. The best time to start investing may have been years ago. The second best time is today. Now let's talk about mistake number 4, ignoring technology. This mistake is quietly costing people money every single day. And surprisingly, it has nothing to do with investing. A few years ago, you could get by without knowing much about technology. Today, that is becoming increasingly difficult because technology now affects almost every financial decision we make. Banking, shopping, paying bills, managing investments, communicating, protecting ourselves from fraud. Technology is no longer a luxury, it's a life skill. One of the most expensive phrases a person can say after 50 is, I am too old to learn this. I am too old to learn that. Because the moment we stop learning, we begin limiting our options. The person who understands online banking has more options. The person who understands digital payments has more options. The person who understands AI has more options. Technology doesn't replace wisdom, it amplifies it. Think about artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, AI assistants. Most people don't need to become technology experts. You don't need to learn programming. You don't need a computer science degree. You simply need to understand how these tools can help you. Think of AI as a calculator for knowledge. It can help you learn faster, research topics, organize information, generate ideas, save time. One reason I started learning technology is because I realized something. The world isn't slowing down. Technology isn't going anywhere. The real choice is whether we learn to use it wisely. Because those who learn often gain confidence. Those who refuse to learn often become dependent on others. And independence matters, especially after 50. Remember this also. Technology is no longer optional. It's a financial skill. And finally, mistake number 5, falling for scams. They may be the most dangerous mistake of all because it can wipe out years or even decades of hard work. Every year, millions of people lose money to fraud, not because they are foolish, not because they are unintelligent, but because scammers have become incredibly sophisticated. Today's criminals understand psychology, they understand fear, they understand greed, they understand trust, and they know exactly how to manipulate emotions. One of the biggest myths about scam is this: that could never happen to me. Unfortunately, that's exactly what many victims thought before they became victims. Scammers don't target intelligence, they target emotion. They create urgency. They create excitement. They create fear. And when emotions take over, good judgment often disappears. Today, scams come in many forms: investment scams, romance scams, impersonation scams, and now AI-powered scams. Today, scammers can create fake voices, fake videos, fake photos, fake messages. That's why awareness is more important than ever. Whenever someone asks for money, personal information, passwords, or banking details, pause, slow down, verify. Never let someone rush you into making a financial decision because urgency is one of the scammer's favorite tools. One thing I have learned is that protecting your money is just as important as earning it. You can spend decades building wealth, but one bad decision can undo years of progress. Remember this, it's not enough to grow your money. You must also protect it. Let's quickly review. Mistake number 1, living without a financial plan. Mistake number 2, depending on one source of income. Mistake number 3, waiting too long to invest. Mistake number 4, ignoring technology. Mistake number 5, falling for scams. The good news, every one of these mistakes can be avoided. You don't need to be perfect. You simply need to be intentional. Plan your finances. Diversify your income. Invest in your future. Learn modern tools and protect yourself from fraud. Those 5 habits alone can dramatically improve your financial future. Now, I do like to hear from you. Which of these 5 mistakes do you think affects the most people after 50? Let me know in the comment section. And if you are interested in building financial confidence, understanding technology, and protecting yourself in today's world, subscribe to Practical Living with Orighoye. Together, we will learn, we will adapt, and we will thrive. I'll see you in the next video.